In this video, we're gonna insert this object that we create, that we read from this form. You can see here I already comment that line, so let's insert this record into the database. Insert the object into the database, and for this we're gonna use something called a transaction. So IndexedDB supports transactions. Let's see how this is done. And we're going to create a transaction, and this is going to be equals to the database that we have here. This database, you can see, is used also right here. We have the result, and from here we're going to use db.transaction. We're going to open the parentheses and then the square brackets, and we're going to use the appointments. This is, you can see, this is going to be the name of the store. And it's a comma right here. We're going to pass the permission. The mode for this is going to be read-write. So we can write something into the database. Then we're going to use the object store. So object store right here. If you remember the last video where we created this the schema where we added all the fields, we use the object store. Always when you want to do something into the database, you have to use the object store. So let's add the object store right here. Let's use transaction.objectStore, and we're gonna use the appointments again. And finally, we're gonna use the request. Request is going to be equals to the object store. And in order to add this into the database, we're gonna use .add, and we're going to add the new object. And this is going to insert this into the database. You can always console log, for example, console log the request. And you can always also console log the object store. So let me add this and save this and open the project. And let me save this. And you can see this doesn't reload. So let's reload this. And let me add some information. Let me add my name right here. You can add yours. Any number is going to be fine. You can add the date. You can also add the time. And let me add something. The dog doesn't do anything. And let me click here on add appointment. And you can see the first one, this one is going to be the object store. So here on the object store, you can see we have the proto, and we have the different functions that we can pass into the object store. One of these is add, but for example, you can see we also have create index. This is going to create the fields. You can also delete a record. You can also get a record, or you can also update a record using update. And we have several other functions. For example, when you want to retrieve the records in the database, you use this one, the open cursor. We're gonna do this in the upcoming videos. And we also have the request. So let me collapse this. And this is going to be the request. You can see at the moment it says ready state. You can see it's done. The result is 1. And you can also check the proto. For example, we have an error, we have on success, and we have several others. We need to finish this code. So let me remove this. And let me add a comment. So on success, we're going to add request.onSuccess like this. And this is going to be a function. And when the record is added into the database, I want to reset this form. So let me let me copy the form, and I will add form.reset. So we're gonna reset the form once the record is added into the database. Then you can see here we have this transaction. So this transaction is going to do several stuff, and we're gonna add transaction on complete. So once the transaction is finished, this is going to be really similar to a database transaction where it performs several steps. If all the steps are done and there are no errors, the transaction is going to be complete. So let me add a console.log, new appointment added. And also we're going to add transaction on error. So this is going to run in case that something in the transaction wasn't done correctly. So let me add a console.log right here. There was an error. Try again. So let me save everything and let me reload. So let me add something like my dog. Let me add another name. Let me add any phone number is going to be fine. Let me add a date. Let me add a time. And the dog doesn't eat anything. So let me add this appointment. And now you can see we have new appointment added. So this is going to be added into the database. So let's open application. Let's open the appointments, click here and clicking off any of the records. And you can see now we have this pet name. You can see we have the results. So let me collapse this. The dog doesn't do anything. And it also added the previous one, the one that we added before, because we didn't have this, but it already insert that record because the new appointment is going to be added in this line. So now you can see we have two different records into the database, and this is the way that you insert this. Always you have to work with the object store and with .add, and the new object is going to be inserted into the database. So let me comment this line, and also you can see that the form was resetted, the receipt of the form, and this is why because we added this on success. So now we have two different records into the database. In the next video, let's see how we can print the records in this section.